the ground, and Chicago in January is usually the pits, but I'll take it. So as I mentioned to Joan in my email, I'm trying to just experiment with some pastels, soft pastels. And I did this probably about a year, maybe a year ago. I think I showed it in Sally's class. It's from a photo I took when I was in Santa Fe. I love this little art shop and I love the colors and that. So I didn't do too well. I mean, I'm kind of struggling, and I think Joan and maybe some other people have given me some links as to where I can take some either YouTube or online classes on how to actually work on soft pastel. So, I mean, that's my new challenge to myself this year, is to try to learn a new medium.
Is this a pastel? You said it's mixed media, but it includes pastel, right?
Yeah, it's primarily soft pastels, and I did a little bit of colored pencil over it, but it's primarily soft pastel. I sketched it in pencil first, and then everything is soft pastels.
Nancy,
yes.
How did you get the clouds to look like that? It almost looks like a palette knife, or acrylic or oil.
Well, what I did there is I just did little soft strokes and I layered it up, and I didn't blend it together. Like you can see the brown of the building. I obviously used my finger to kind of blend some colors in so it's softer. But in the sky, I just left them the hard marks, mark making. I just left them the hard individual marks, and that came out a little bit more defined, which is what I wanted. The clouds are really soft, but at least the colors, I laid them side by side so you could still see the individual colors.
There's
very nice. I like it.
There's so much I like about this.
Thank you.
I like it's sort of, well, first of all, is this a part of the building, this curly thing that goes around the door?
Yes, it was applied like white cement or whatever that made like kind of a wave going around it. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, and I liked what you did with the shadows here. Is this your artistic touch to bring it down there?
Yes, those are the shadows. The post came out like an Old West, building, and it really was. It was, kind of it's very much an Adobe style, and the sun was high, and it was just, those were the shadows that were coming down. So I decided to lay them down in some blue color.
I think very creative.
Very nice.
Yeah, it shows that you took artistic license to present this.
Yes.
And this got watercolor though down here, but is it not?
No, that's just blended. It's all soft pastels. There's no watercolor. It's just, using my fingertip to blend some of the colors in to make it, look softer. And, unless you have the right, and this was kind of a cheap pastel paper. And I've learned now that, you really got to get the right pastel paper. There's a special pastel ground you can put on it, just the same way you do with like a gesso, to give it a little bit more toot. So this paper was cheaper. I think it was pastel, but it was still cheaper. So you can only put so many layers on it before, the stuff started falling off. So I'm learning. Anybody else that's done pastels, I'll appreciate some hints.
Yeah, you need to get in touch with Joy. She's the pastel master.
Oh, Joy, I'll be in touch with you, babe.
Oh, June.
Nancy, I really like the tree, and and the depth to the whole thing is just really nice. It's really nice. It's
loose and it's very artistic.
Thank you. I tried to apply some of the principles I do with my acrylic painting, which is to layer on top. And so I found that if I did a little experiment, if I didn't touch them and try to blend them together, I could get the richness of some value changes in there without it all being mud. So thank you. It's just when I get better at it in the future meetings, hopefully I'll show you my progression.
But I've seen this, I've seen you apply this style in a lot of your recent works, is where you punch out the main part of the painting and then you kind of bleed a part of it off to offset the realism, which softens it a lot. I think that's good technique.
Thank you, John.
And here's something I love.
Wow.
Wilbur. That's acrylic. I did it probably about 5 years ago. It's my younger brother's girlfriend, Heidi, who is she's been in the family for like 30 years. And she's a wonderful person to all of us. And we love her. And she has a pet cat named Wilbur. And my brother is allergic to cats, but whenever he'd go over to Heidi's house, Wilbur would head right to his lap, you know. So they became best buds. And Wilbur has since passed on. I think passed about a year ago, and I think she's going to get another cat. It's been tough for her. But I thought, you know, what can I give Heidi as a thank you? And so I painted her cat. It took me quite a while to get his face right, but I think he came out okay. And he just looks at you with love. That's all. He was lying on top of the box.
Beautiful details.
Thank you.
The eyes and the whiskers and all. It's not as easy as it looks to do.
I changed his face probably a dozen times, and at some point, you know, you just had to kind of say, okay, that's it. But I get a lot of layers, and it's hard to do fur.
I could almost pet him up here on his forehead because of the nice white, the white streaks are very nice here. And
thank you. Luckily it was acrylic, so I could layer it.
I love this part, the worn part of the corner of the furniture. It's really cute.
Very nice on the firm. And I can see the brushy strokes.
Yeah.
And that make the firm thick.
Yeah.
Thank you. And he kind of had a little fat belly there, and his feet were off as in distance, and it's, you know, but he just looks relaxed, I think.
Very.
I think
nice.
The fur and the ears look fantastic, Nancy. They really, you know, you really did a nice job inside the ear.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, animals. I used to paint a lot of animals. My sister-in-law was involved with the dog rescue group, and so I would paint some portraits and stuff. And oh my God, that's a period of my life I don't want to relive. But you know, because most of the little dogs were furry and, you know, white and multicolored and that, and it was really tough. Then back then I was painting in oils, but thank God I found acrylics. I could correct my mistakes in a half a day rather than wait 3 days. But anyway, animals are fun to look at, not to paint.
Nice work.
Lovely work.
Yeah.
And then this is the third one Nancy sent.
Oh, sweet.
Did this a couple of years ago, and again, I haven't been painting that much, but I thought with the winter, quote unquote, your version of our version of winter, it was appropriate for showing it in January. And this is a photo I just took off the internet, so I just kind of modified a little bit and kept it relatively simple. But you know, it looks like I wanted to make it outdoor and very atmospheric, and I kind of like it.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice and soft.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Nice snow on the back of the deer.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, Joy has been doing a lot of studies so that she can become a master of technique. She doesn't know she's already a master, but we'll let her keep doing studies if it makes her happy.
Yes, I told June, I said that I'd like to show my daily
practice
practice to our group. And I just did many small figures in watercolor and no any pencil draft. Just put the brush and the color on and try to catch the figures, characters, and also shadow. Yeah, this is just practice.
You drew this in watercolor? You didn't put a pencil drawing down first?
No pencil, just a brush and the color.
Your control's amazing.
Wow, impressive.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very nice.
I think this practice really helped me to build up confidence. Yeah, and when I use, because it's cheaper watercolor paper, and I needed to get quick and accurate. So when I use a real watercolor paper, and I can feel more confident to do the job.
The wet sand is fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
And the little girl's hair, you know, I mean, there's so much, you know, value changes in there. It's amazing how you could get it to not run off and puddle. I mean, you have to be just perfectly accurate with your dots of watercolor. They blended together beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
in the water.
Yes, and also the shape of the body's fantastic because you know, very loose, but I get the sense of her bending over and him looking out, so really well done.
So cute.
Well, you know, it's not as easy to do as it seems, because if I were to try and do this, it wouldn't look like a real leg with a calf, and so it takes a lot of knowledge to be able to do a quick sketch and get the whatever it is you're trying to portray.
She controls her watercolors, which is almost impossible, but she does it.
Yeah. Well, I think what's fascinating is you see how she did some modeling, but not really modeling, but making the getting some lighting and light and shadow here. But on the dress, all she did was some really quick strokes, and yet you still feel the volume of the body in it, even though it's just a layer of watercolor.
Yeah, it's got some depth and movement. A lot of movement. It's beautiful. The little boy I love.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
You're getting there, Joy. Here's another practice piece from Joy. Quick sketches.
Oh.
How long did you take on this one, Joy?
I think in half hour.
Half an hour?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because no pencil draft, and just get a little little figures
running together. I mean, if you're doing this quickly, I can tell, but yet you've got so much control over that, but yet there's water in your paint. I can tell because it flows. How do you stop it? Do you just blot it, or like that purple on her elbow? How did you keep that from running into the yellow of the guitar up in the corner?
Yeah, the first layer is just the light skin color, and to make the figure outline. I don't know how to say. And after a little bit dry, and put the second layer, and they can make a shadow. And same thing, I don't know. Just because this looks like a draft, I don't care about the color and like how the overlapped, and just catch the character, and people will make a lower expectation for this draft.
Oh,
They're fabulous.
Beautiful. And the kids walking on the beach, they're so, again, the movement is beautiful.
Yeah. I like this little wash on the side of the face that sets there's a lot of modeling to the face. Very
Face
nice.
is beautiful.
Nice work, Joy.
Thank you.
All lovely.
Very nice, Joy.
Thanks.
And now we go to Scott. And Scott, I'm not sure. I'm thinking this is the same piece. You had a question, but I believe it's the same sculpture.
It is the same sculpture. I don't know if I talked about it before, but you can see it on the left is pretty much the way it is, and then on the right I've clamped a piece of metal. Actually, it's a strapping from a barrel, and I've just clamped that on. I'm thinking of adding that to the piece. And I'd like each one of you to vote on which one you like, the one on the left, the one on the right. I think my feeling is that it didn't have a lot of depth to it without, it's got some nice lines going through it, but I just wanted to add something. I felt it would give it some more depth, but I'd love to hear what you guys think of just the lines, and should I, really attach a piece of metal to the back of it to give it kind of a more feel to it.
Scott, I don't know if it's the photograph, but the ball and the metal are too close together. Just the angle.
You mean here?
Whether if you move the ball up a little bit, it might improve it, but for me, I prefer the one on the left.
I love the simplicity of this. It's graceful, it's got a lot of space, and your eyes just flow very nicely on it. For me, this bar that goes across cuts off that fluidity that it
Yeah.
has, you know.
I agree, Scott. Or I think the other thing is that bar that goes across, maybe it should be at a higher angle if you want to leave it in. But straight across for me, kind of, it doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Cool. That's kind of feedback I'm looking for.
I actually like the bar. You might lower it a little bit. You know, I don't know if you can in terms of width, but I like the fact that it breaks up it gives an alternative to the movement that it's just totally up and down in all parts of that piece. So I would like to maybe see the bar lowered slightly. That way it wouldn't be on an even level with the ball, and that might do it, but I think they're both beautiful. But I like the addition of the bar in some sense.
Well, one thing I think is the bar is kind of thick. And I don't know, for me, it's a little thick.
Yeah.
I like both. Yeah, I like both, but I like with the bar more because
Oh,
I
you
can
got
see.
even Stevens, Scott.
Yeah,
Boy,
I can.
yeah. Go ahead, Joy.
Yeah, I can see. They have everything. They have a vertical and a variation, and a round shape, square, and
Yeah.
also that big piece, and combine everything together. I think it's more complicated. Not
It's more
complicated.
interesting. That's more interesting with the bar.
More good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah, and the placement of the bar certainly is something I could play with, onto where it would be attached. The ball is pretty much stable. I can't. That's really.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Actually, when I did the piece, it would have been simpler to like have a hole going through the ball to be able to adjust it on the dowel to where I want it. But actually, the dowel went through the piece first, and then I took the ball and actually cut it in half, and then re-glued it back together onto the dowel. It was pretty complicated in doing it. It took me a long time to actually get it done so it would fit and everything. So that's pretty
I like
much
the location of the
where it
ball on
is,
the
yeah.
left-hand picture. I can see why you put it there. That's fabulous.
Yeah, and the thickness of that, it's actually Primavera, which is a hardwood. If this was made out of Douglas fir, it would have just snapped.
Oh, no.
But the dowel does give it some more stability, so that it doesn't, basically snap, because it is very, very thin through there. Maybe an eighth of an inch to a quarter of an inch. It's just very, very thin, which I thought was kind of like the really cool thing to the wood.
Absolutely.
So anyway, yeah, and the picture on the right isn't very good. I just was trying to get a feel for what it would look like. It's kind of difficult to get a feel for it, but that's great. You guys have split.
Well, Scott, you're gonna probably have to flip a coin, and
Yeah, I know.
whatever heads or tails, you do it.
Yeah, I mean, the deal is once it's attached, it's attached. I mean,
attached,
yeah, there's no going back. So anyway, but thank you very much for your input. I really appreciate it.
Thanks
Beautiful.
for sending it. Okay. And Chris.
Okay, this one I had sitting around for a very long time, and something about it said I'm not finished. You know how that goes. But so I just mostly what it needed was simplification. So I simplified it and added some more line work. And then the other thing I did was all the white area, or the light colored area, I used varying shades of cream and mixing it with gray just to give it some variety. So, and it's mixed media, so it's a lot of collage. There's some ink in it, and I think I might have used pencil as well. So anyway.
Well, I need to explain why I put this here, in case anyone wanted to ask you
To rotate it.
were rotated. I was just,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah, Pico's not here.
but I like it both ways, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of these is you could put it many different ways. I had it upside down as well, and I liked it that way too. But, you know, I haven't been feeling very creative like everybody, so I just am digging through all my old stuff, and if something speaks to me, then I'll futz around with it.
Chris, I like the way it is on the left, where it actually, you know, kind of resembles that there is a vase filled with water, the blue-green water, even though the edge of the vase isn't defined. And the fact that you've got, you know, your blooms. I like the duplication of the white, you know, not the bloom, but the leaf branch on top. And then the one that's either fallen or out of the vase in white against the black background. I really like, to me, that defines the piece. It gives a lot of direction, and it's
Good, thank you.
it really I love it. And again, I love your color palette. It looks like ultramarine and I don't know, crimson and teal.
Yep, a little bit of teal.
Yeah.
Love it. And the tiniest bit of yellow just makes it perfect. This is one of my favorite pieces of yours.
Oh, thank you.
Very
I
good.
actually like the one on the right. I don't know if it's because of the darkening at the bottom, the weight being at the bottom, and the light up top. But I can also see that's a jar, reflections in a jar, a glass jar maybe, with a little bit of water in it. And looking at, I saw this online on Facebook too, and I think when I look at it now, the more I look at the one on the right, the more I like it.
Ah, that's a funny thing about art, isn't it? Everybody has such different opinions.
Well, I do come from the Southern Hemisphere. That might have something to do with it.
Oh, okay.
You like the jar on the table, on the black
That's what it looks
I
like, yeah.
the fact that it's almost falling off
Yeah.
at the edge of it. I like the tension there.
Well,
Beautiful.
well,
I
Chris,
love it. Yeah, beautiful. And I like this painting because for me, I'm not an abstract person, but for me, I really love it because it makes sense. I can see something. I can see
Thank you,
something.
Joy.
You're welcome. Yeah, I can see something beautifully expressed. And jar, a flower with the color, shape, line, and everything.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
well, Chris, for me, it's the usual. I love what always strikes me in your work is the way you use the black and white to set a framework for things, and then you go in with to define areas of color. But your large, broad black and white shapes kind of holds it all together, and then you play around. And then these positive and negative shapes with the leaves are really a nice touch. The way, you know, they're black here and they're white, they're positive, negative. Good, beautiful.
Thanks, Joan.
One thing I noticed on the left, the white piece up at the front with the black leaf and the white, that white patch comes forward.
Down
And
here,
when you put it, when you turn it on its side, it recedes to the background and brings the quote, the jar forward.
yeah, you're right. Mhm.
Ah, I see that.
Mhm.
How big is it?
Let me think. You know, I did this one on unstretched canvas. I think it's let me think. 21 by 21 inches.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Nice.
My favorite size.
Yeah, I like that size. And I have to tell you guys, I really love unstretched canvas. I like it a lot. And it's portable. You know, I brought this back with me. I brought a few back with me. And, you know, it's pliable. I can roll it up and there's no problem with bending, you know, like paper bends,
Yeah.
but this doesn't. So I really do like it.
It lays
And
flat.
you roll it before you varnish it, right?
Yep.
Okay. Good.
Yep.
Okay. So it lays flat while you're working on it.
Great.
Pardon me, Joan?
It lays flat while you're working on it, or do you have it
No.
on the easel or down on a
I do both because with the collage work, it's flat, but then I put it on an easel when I'm painting.
Mhm, mhm.
Mm.
Okay.
And then some of the spots I just splatter and I leave it flat so it doesn't run.
Okay.
I see.
Great.
Beautiful. Now, talking about not being inspired, here's mine. Um,
Oh,
let's see. I have two
nice.
versions of it. Two versions of it.
Morning?
This one is more enhanced. I was sitting, it was raining, and like heck, I was waiting for the Sprinter train to come in 5 minutes, and the rain is, this is all looking through my window,
Your car window?
the car window. And when I took the picture, it was just for the heck of it. I had no use for it. I just said, let me take a picture of this. And when I brought it home and looked at it, it looked, the drops really looked very artistic.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I've seen people win awards at Cole Gallery when they have a rose petal and then there's a drop a dewdrop or some water spot on it. So I thought, heck, I didn't even have to think about this one.
You have very clean car windows. Of course, it's been raining for 2 weeks, right? So of course they're good.
This is
And I
actually,
can see the little bus in the lower left-hand corner too, or kind of van or a truck. It implies a street scene and the wind. You can see the wind through the palm leaves. It's striking. It's California right now. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's today.
well, when I said first rain, I meant like 3 months ago when it first started to
Okay.
rain. But this is the enhanced version with the blue. Tell me if you like this one better than the one before, which is more, the other one has a little more pop, don't you think?
Yes, the blue is,
Yeah, I
is
like the
outstanding.
the tint of the green. Yeah, I do like that.
Okay. All right. So I managed to be creative without trying.
Nice. Mhm.
All right, thank you. And here's an older one of Barry. And Barry, you didn't give me a title. You just said it was a companion piece.
Wow.
Yeah, I think probably in November I showed one and I missed the meeting for some reason.
Oh, I think so. I remember now.
And this is there's a South African artist called Paul Pau who uses this style, and I took a couple of his paintings and modified them. But I love the bright colors. I love the trees are what dragged me in first. The lovely the way he's done his trees, and I've always liked outlining. So they just fell in. They're nice and bright. They 24 by 18, I think it is. And they brighten up the end of the passage in the house. So it's certainly not original, but it's also certainly not a direct copy of his. Colors are a little bit different, and some of the left pieces out and added pieces in and things like that.
Yeah.
Is the sky like what he did, or did you?
Very similar. Very similar.
I mean,
Those
I
trees.
really like the color palette, like you said, and
Yes. Mhm.
it's just really a great piece. I really like it.
Dynamic piece.
They're nice and happy pieces.
Yes. Those trees look like the pine trees in Rome, Barry.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are they
I don't know what
acacia
they're
trees?
called, but
I think they're acacia trees, aren't they, in Africa? Where
They may be.
yeah, trees.
You know, they those acacias and the flat tops like that. We used to call them giraffe tables.
Mhm.
The giraffes would feed off them, but I really don't know what those trees might be. Probably out in the farming areas and the places like this.
What I like about this painting is that the way you've sectioned off the different areas, they not only signify things, but also, I don't know, moods, and you can just move through different parts of the painting. Your eye just doesn't know where to look, which is great because it keeps going down the path to the houses, to the hills behind, and the sunset or sunrise, and then back down around again. It really keeps the viewer very interested. It's just lovely, Barry.
Mhm.
And what I liked about it too is that, like the bushes in the front of the wall, if I had taken a photo like this and painted them, I wouldn't have left them all one color. I'd have been trying to put leaves and stuff like that on them. And I think that all the fields and the mountains and everything are like that. They're just monotone.
Yeah. I think Jerry could have a field day with this, with her stained glass work. It almost looks like a stained glass window or something.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very beautiful. I think this is the best one. I've seen Barry's work. I really love it. Very beautiful and the balance, the color and the palette. I like the trees and the clouds. Very, very creative. Beautiful composition.
That's high praise, Barry.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll pass it on to the original artist.
Well,
And
we all
Joan-
we learn from artists, you know.
Joan,
Yeah.
that's a great comment. I think Jerry would if she would make this in stained glass, it would be really cool, wouldn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
it's got all, you know, all the composition really speaks to that.
Really. Yeah. Thanks, Scott. Well, anyway, I didn't know if Pico would be here, but we'll skip through this. And then here I just have 2 slides of when I was at that La Quinta festival just a few months ago. This is just the artwork there kind of reminded me of some of the stuff our group does. What Chris does anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Gorgeous.
Nice and broad and nice color palettes. These I really love. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I thought Barry and Scott, and I thought maybe Pico and Eileen would have gotten something out of this.
It's cool.
It's called, can you read on top of here? I've got something on my screen blocking it,
A
but
bronze relief.
yeah, above that though, it says the family.
Family gathering.
Okay. Oh, thanks. Well, and the writing tells you that they're joined at the hip, which is a part of his family feeling. And you see the way these are done, Barry? They're all joined together, and yet you just pick out the shapes and the color. Separate. I think that's a beautiful idea for sculpture.
I've seen this Guillaume's work before.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
believe
so have I.
if you Google La Quinta Festival, there's another one coming up in a few months, and they get entries from all over the whole country. And this person is from New Mexico. I imagine it's very expensive to apply, and then you have to go set up your booth and drag all your work there, you know, and take down. But I was really impressed with the fluidity and just the simplicity of these sculptures. So,
Joan,
yes, ma'am.
what is the material?
It's
No?
bronze relief. They're cast
Okay.
bronze.
Joan, could you show the previous slide real quickly? I wanted to take a picture of those 2 paintings.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, sure. So I'll stop the share and we can just chat until they knock us out of here. We have less than a minute to talk, but good to see everyone. And,
Yes.
okay.
At our meeting at the Broken Yolk, Faya, if you read the minutes, did a really nice little presentation on the use of media. And she made these charts for, I think there were like 15 different media. And the chart she made was on the left, it was just the medium on its own. And then she added colors with translucent or opaque. And then she added different things, 5 different things across. And she made, I think, 3 of these charts. And it was really instructive.